Alrighty, I'll just open it up for questions.
Teams and wins and losses, maybe even more so in losses. What do you feel like you've learned about this team following a loss and how they've kind of moved on from that, getting ready for this upcoming opponent?
Well, I do believe that you don't learn anything from winning. And as Kobe Bryant, who was one of the greatest competitors who ever walked the earth, said, all of your learning athletically and probably in life comes from the pain and the desperation of failure. And we had a great day. Today's Tuesday, right? We had a great day Sunday. Totally locked on. They were off yesterday. And today might have been the best practice of the year. So
that should answer your question.
How much do you think that speaks to the leadership of this year?
It's everything.
Speaks everything to it. Everything.
Now that you've had a chance to kind of watch the film back, what do you think went wrong in the second half?
I'm not going to answer any questions about that. I'm looking forward.
Okay? We had those questions after the game.
Players and staff on this team with Carolina ties, we talk about what that means for your team to go back there?
Yeah, we've got
Justin Olson, Jaquarius Conley, Donnie Balfour, and then we got a bunch of coaches, Tim Brewster, Tim Cross, and Dre Bly. So that's a lot of guys from one program. You know, they have great respect for Mac Brown and Chapel Hill. And, you know, I think they're all excited to go back and play, but not with any kind of malice or revenge. There's none of that. There's just great respect. I mean, all the kids and the coaches talk, you know, glowingly about Coach Brown and the staff and the players there that they still know. So exciting, though. I mean, it's the best. I mean, you know, when you probably make somebody angry saying this, I'm sure I'll make a bunch of people angry, but I mean, kind of when you think about North Carolina college football, you know, Carolina probably is, you know, they're the top dog, and they've earned it, and so it'll be a very exciting day for us to go over there and play.
Coach, when you look at that offense, obviously everybody knows Amarion Hampton, but then also you take in Connor Harrell. Obviously, he's more the mobile quarterback for those guys. Had a lot of rushing yards in the Dukes Mayo Bowl this past season. What do you look to do to maybe tweak the defensive scheme to kind of combat that quarterback run? Because that's where you guys got hurt against JMU, was the quarterback run.
Well, first of all, you know, really feel badly for Max, right? I mean, he's from a great family. He's a great kid, and he'll be back. But our thoughts and prayers are with him and his mom and dad for sure, and his brother, who's his teammate at Carolina. That's got to be tough for that family. 15's good. I mean, he's a winning quarterback, and he can run it, but he can also throw it. You know, sometimes his fans and his media and his coaches and his players, we like to put people in boxes and say, that guy's a runner, this guy's. Max ran the ball great against Minnesota, and this young fellow will be able to throw the ball and run the ball. So to answer your question, you know, you have to. It's always harder when you have a quarterback that can run, right? Because it limits the kinds of things you can do on defense. You don't want everybody's back to the ball and have somebody break out of the pocket. Those are where big plays occur. So, you know, I'm sure we're going to see short game. I'm sure we're going to see some go balls, and I'm sure we're going to see the things that he threw against Minnesota. He threw a lot of intermediate routes, and I'm confident we're going to see him probably more in a quarterback running game, except I think they'll be fairly judicious with that, because if he goes down, that's a big problem. And the kid, 28, I mean, just give him the ball every play. He's like a really special player. carried it 27 times, I think, against Minnesota. Is that right? 30. And he's a horse. And I mean that in a complimentary way. Strong, fast, explosive. He hunts down contact. We better be ready to tackle because he is a guy. He's the best back I've seen and I've watched a lot of film, as you can imagine, but he's the best back I've seen since Blake Corum.
You mentioned the rushing. What can you do you mentioned the running back for UNC Chapel Hill. What can you do, what have you done in practice to kind of get ready for that, and what can you kind of stifle his rushing attempts?
Well, you have to just be sound in your gap responsibilities, right? You have to have 11 guys to the football because he does not go down with usually the first contact. He led the country last year in yards after contact, which is an amazing statistic. So I don't see any early first initial tacklers bringing him down. We got to swarm to the ball. We have to be sound in tackling, and we cannot get out of our gaps.
You said today was maybe the best day of practice you guys have had. What maybe makes you say that? What did the team show you that maybe makes you say, hey, this was the best day we've had so far?
You were there, right? You saw it. What'd you think?
The energy was good. I thought the execution was really good.
Yeah, it was
Upbeat, resolute, intense, and spirited, and pretty precise. So today was a good day.
Kind of piggyback off Hunter's earlier question, how beneficial is it to have a lot of players in your program knowing Chapel Hill and their scheme and stuff like that, especially when you talk about Dante Balfour being a DB, knowing that Carolina likes to throw the ball. They've got a lot of great receivers, Pace Sauer and Jones coming to mind. So just how beneficial is that you got guys that know their program?
Cam, that really isn't that. There's no big advantage there because everybody's schemes kind of change every year and personnel changes and coaching influences change. That's really no advantage.
It's clear that JMU tried to limit you guys in the big plays Saturday night. How do you kind of open up the playbook copycat league? How do you open up the playbook and get your offense rolling in week 2?
Yeah, I think, look, I think when we throw the ball is important. I think also how we throw the ball is important. And, but it all comes back to this. And, I know everybody likes to talk about explosive plays and throwing it down the field. But unless you can run the football and stop the run, you can't win. It's very simple. So we have to be able to run the football. And if you run the football, that lets you have explosive plays in a pass game. If you're not running the football, getting explosive plays in a pass game is almost next to zero. Because all they're doing is pinning their ears back and coming in all kinds of exotic pressures. And their new defensive coordinator, Jeff Collins, he calls himself, I think, the master of disaster or something like minister of doom or something like that. And his guys fly around and very exotic what they do with the front and the blitzing. The front moves every play. And by the way, they Florida had a good front last year. These guys are better. They're bigger, believe it or not, and more athletic. They are loaded up front. And they play a lot of guys, and they get a lot of production. To have a defensive tackle have, 3 sacks in a game is fairly unheard of. So, but all that being said, you can't get impatient and go away from running the football. You just can't do that. And if you do that and you stop the run, you give yourself a chance late in the game to win it. I tell you what I'm not thrilled about. I'm not thrilled about their kicker. I mean, that guy, where did he come from? You know, I mean, what a weapon. I think he made 3 or 4, and a couple of them were long and at critical moments. So we're going to have to play really good. They're a really good team. I think they're the premier team in the state, but it's a great honor to go there and play. And our kids were very spirited today, and they have sloughed off the JMU situation. And actually, we talked today about learning from it, and we talked about it actually being a gift, being a blessing from God in a way, because this is the benefit of a tough preseason. A tough preseason exposes you, and now you know the things you have to work on. Wouldn't it be terrible to play a cupcake preseason, not get exposed, get into the league, which is really your goal, and then get exposed in the league and not have the opportunity to work on it? So we've gone over a lot of things and a lot of meetings, a lot of hard work. They were great in the weight room Sunday. Great in meetings, great in a walkthrough practice, and today, as I said, was just really good.
You talked about missing 8 or 9 guys ahead of the game. Can you give an update on some of that health and if that?
Yes, so we'll pick up 1 interior defensive lineman. We have 3 out. We'll pick up 1, but he'll be on a pitch count. You know, you can't come back and just go the whole time. Looks like we lost an offensive lineman, another one, in the game. But I think we're getting 1 back there. And I think that's pretty much, everybody else should be kind of as they were last week, except for those 1 defensive lineman coming back, the loss of 1 offensive starting lineman, but the coming back of another guy.
Question. I just want to ask about Steve Wilks' involvement with the team. Seeing him out at practice today, what has he kind of given you, whether it's just working with you or working with the players? What has that relationship been like?
Steve's a really good human being and a very kind person, extremely knowledgeable. You know, Steve wants to go be a head coach in the NFL, and he will be. I think this is probably his last hurrah in college football. But he's off this year. He's local. He wants to help us. But he's still, he's traveling around and talking to other people, teams and whatnot, and watching, and got a lot of friends in the league. He's been just a wonderful resource. Really helped us all. Me, Oz. Right now, I have assigned him to help with the Mike and the offense, because even though he's a defensive guy, nobody knows offense really like a defensive guy. So he is going to be mentoring there, and he's been very, very valuable. Plus just so pleasant around the building, which you would expect, right?
Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Coach.
See you in Chapel Hill.
Having a history with UNC, a lot of the guys on this team have, coaching staff, players. But Biff had said there's a lot of respect there. It's not animosity, it's a lot of respect. What is it like, I guess, through your eyes, to get to go back to Chapel Hill and get to play that program this week?
I'd just say emotional. I think it's going to stir up a lot of memories. Even the visiting locker room was where I was my freshman year while they were renovating the other locker room. So I can't even imagine just being at the end of my journey and then being where it started and just seeing how far I came, man. It's going to be very emotional. But like you said, no animosity. It's all love. They gave me an opportunity. I got my degree, and I moved on.
Anyone in particular that you can't wait to line up against? Maybe any friends or anything like that over there?
Nah, not in particular. I'm just happy to see all those guys, talk to them again. I haven't really spoke to many people once I left there, so it'll be nice seeing them all again.
Question for both you guys. Coach just told us that you can't really learn anything from a win. So what has been this week like? You know, you said you guys had a great practice today, maybe one of the best practices of the year. How have you guys recovered and after that JMU loss?
So I say, well, after a loss, you know, you get to watch on film is many things that, you know, you did wrong if you lost. So I can say we got a lot of things watching the film that we can correct. They were all mistakes that are correctable. So, you know, today, yeah, we went out and we corrected those mistakes that we made, JMU, and we're looking forward now.
Oh, sorry. Yeah.
No, that's
Ali, we talked about Chance Williams' game coming in, playing on the D-line for you guys, had a strip sack the other night in his first game as a Niner.
It was big. It was big. It's big having Chance. Making that play. I know that specific play that gave us a lot of momentum. Boosted a lot of morale for us. I mean, as you saw probably on the sideline, we was all turned up about that. So, we glad to have somebody. I mean, all the guys, but you know, just to have them rushing on the outside. We know as DBs that we only got covered for a little while. We know they're gonna get there.
I guess question for Justin, Max Brown, how has that connection been so far? And he kind of, what's the word? Had some kind of mistakes a little bit, but also was able to show that he can have a lot of ability to create after some things go wrong and extend plays. What's that like as a wide receiver, being able to, you know, always having in the back of your head, I can't give up on this play because my quarterback can find it?
Man, some of the things that I've seen Max do physically are incredible. They truly are. Some of the throws he's made. So the mental errors or anything like that, I'm not worried about that at all. I see how much he loves the game. I've seen how much he does love the game since I've met him in January. He's going to correct them just like we said. We come in, we watch the film, we learn. And, you know, it's a lot to take on a new role as a starter. And people really take for granted how hard quarterback is. Really a lot of the positions on the field and how hard it is to, you know, read coverages or X, Y, Z. So I ain't never going to talk about another man and, you know, his errors because we all go through so much. And it truly is incredibly difficult to do what he does and what we do. So.
What stands out to you most about Max? And not just as a quarterback, but also just as a leader and what he's brought to this program?
Man. He's an ideal leader. You know, he comes in and he does everything he needs to do. Every time I pull up in the parking lot, I see his Oklahoma tags in there. He's here watching film with his coach. We go to yoga religiously in the off season and still do. He's strong in his faith. I know that's very important to many guys on the roster. So all around, he's a great guy. So.
Ali, the deep ball hurt you guys Saturday night. Talk about what you guys saw on film, how they were attacking you, and how you guys plan to move forward going to Chapel Hill this week.
We're not really too worried about that deep ball. Obviously, that's not something we ever want to give up. And as a defensive room, we pride ourselves in not giving up any explosives. So, but like I said before, we just watching film. We just correct little mistakes that was made on that play. If we had just done a slight thing different, then it would never happen. So, you know, I got full trust in all my guys. So, just going forward into UNC, I mean, that's the same mindset, is not to give up any explosives. So, and yeah.
How encouraged are you guys, especially after how the first half went? I mean, it's about as well as the defense could play in the first half. It's how encouraged are you by what you guys were able to put together?
Well, that first half is who we are. So, and we know that. So now it's all about just being consistent. So, I mean, it's not good enough just to have a good first half. So we got to continue to have that same fire going on in the second half, completing our job, being mentally tough, and still just, you know, handling our assignments.
Justin, we talk about Sean Brown. He had 7 catches for 60 yards, and he had 3 catches all last season. So just talk about his game, what you've seen from him since you got here.
Sean Brown, man, I'm so proud of that guy. I'm so happy to see where he's came and where he's going. Like, y'all haven't seen nothing yet. His ceiling is so high, and he's just a baller, man. And as his confidence keeps growing, it's gonna be a scary sight. It truly will be.
Really going and looking forward to Chapel Hill, they have one of the best rushers in the country. You guys are safeties, and you always talking about the passing game and stuff. But what do you do? What can you do to kind of stifle that running game from Chapel Hill?
Tackle. It's just, I mean, yeah, we respect his game, but I mean, at the end of the day, it's just he's a running back. We gotta tackle. So every week, no matter who it was, who's running the ball, we gotta get him down. So it don't matter what accolades he got or whatever he did this year, last year, whenever, we gotta tackle him.
I guess for both of you guys, first road trip of the season, what are you looking forward to the most?
Playing the game. I know I never played against UNC, so just I'm looking forward to that challenge, and I think we're gonna tackle the challenge head on, and we're gonna shock a lot of people.
And I personally enjoy the away crowds. I just think it's hilarious when they're chirping in our ear, so it's fun.
I appreciate y'all.
Appreciate y'all. Have a good one.